Alright, so welcome back again to Driveway. Today, we're just gonna take care of some odds and ends that we need to on this thing before we get rolling to Rocky Mountain Race Week. So, we've got a bunch of things. We need to figure out the electric windows. And then the mirrors, need to get them figured out. Need to wire up the wiring harness for the trailer. And then we're also going to have to look at some of the tuning on this thing because that's a little wonkied up. And as you can tell, we got a windshield installed, so that's a step in the right direction. So anyways, let's just go jump over to the computer and show you what I found out with the tune that gets loaded up with the Terminator X system. Okay, first thing, this here is the data file that the wizard created when everything was set up. So just followed the wizard, clicked on everything, went through, set up each individual little thing, where our target air-fuel ratios are, and this is what it kind of ended up with. So I am really going to feel sorry for any sorry sap that follows the instructions and then expects to get in boost and go to town on it, because this is the spark map. So what they're showing here is kind of a jacked up set. You can look over here at the KPAs. So let's go about 100. So this is about 100 here. This is going to be just essentially about normal, I believe. Let me refigure that out. Let's see, KPA to PSI. Yeah, so 100 KPA is going to be about 14 PSI, which is atmosphere. So this is going to be what it has set for timing. So you can see the timing set is at 18 across the board. Then it drops to 15, then 13, then 11. This is a pretty small graph to try to smooth out in between there, because you got all of this extra wasted space, which is really dumb. So essentially what I went through and did is, like, as a whole, it's probably pretty close to the same. So let's see, at 100 it's about 18. I cranked up this one here, so 100 is now down here, and we're about in the 17, 18s. This is a spark map that I stole from a Sloppy Mechanics tune file. I loaded it up and then pulled some timing out of it just to be a little on the safer side. So this gives you a lot more resolution here in between. So it should make the computer a lot happier trying to pick what number it needs to do. It's like numbers below 100. So these here are pretty much worthless they don't do much of anything. So that's pretty much idling with vacuum and so on and so forth. So that's at least one thing. The spark base map is a little bit wonkied. And then I also went through and adjusted, let's see, where was it? I adjusted the air fuel commanding wherever it's at. Where is it at? Target air fuel. So I got that slightly more filtered through from one area to the next. So at 100 we're running about 12.4. So that would be wide open on normal aspiration. So then everything above that is boost. So it starts getting a little richer and richer and richer. So that should be good there. It's at least to the point that it's safe enough to actually get out and test and tune it a little bit. And then our other thing that we did is we set up some custom numbers for a two-step. So we got a two-step button, then we got the scramble button, and then on the output we used two outputs to operate the boost controller. So that way there'll be a, as we can tell over here, click the configure, and we'll have two different boost maps, for one without the button pressed for scramble and one with. So essentially all it does is increase the duty cycle. I will have to mess around with this a lot more to figure out what duty cycles come up to what PSI level. So that'll be an interesting moment in life. But anyways, that was a quick little things that I did on the Terminator software. So now we kind of have to start tackling the wonderful world of stock connectors and how they wired a bunch of this stuff. So the mirror is actually relatively self-explanatory, mainly because it's actually still a quasi-manual system. So I can still use the whole setup and the wiring diagram that they had. So we just have to feed power and ground to those. And then these go out to our side mirrors. And I reused the clamp there. And I believe these are wires for if you had heated mirrors. I have no clue if I have heated mirrors, and I don't care, because I see no point in having that on this car. So essentially, we got all this. So we need to pretty it up with some wire loom stuff. And then we're going to have to mount this in the dash so we can still adjust our mirrors. So that'll be an interesting maneuver as well. Anyways, I'm going to get wrapping this thing, and we'll show you how I mount this up in just a little bit. Alright, so I got a template made. This is the size of the hole that we're going to cut in the dash. And what it allows us to do is take our mirror section, and like you'd expect, we just jam it right in there. And that holds pretty well in and of itself, but it could still come back out. So I created this retaining clip that slides right in here. There's kind of this weird little notch there. So this way I can run a screw through the plate, through this piece. We'll have a spacer right there, so that way it'll all sandwich together and it won't go anywhere. So essentially all that I have to do now is just transfer this template onto the dashboard piece and cut it out. Alright, so the control knob is in and it works pretty good. Left and right. So we got that set up quite nicely. Now next, we're going to put a couple switches here and here for the windows to go up and down. So that will be the next part. And it's like part of this thought process with using the same harness. I was going to attempt to use the buttons until I looked up on the wiring diagram and found out these are computer controlled. So that's where this is just a signal button for up and down, and then there's a computer that controls the actual window. So the big green wire and big black wire switch polarities back and forth and it'll go up and down. These other couple wires are most likely for the position sensors, so that way the car knows which way is up or down. Most likely that was for a kind of one of those features where it remembers where halfway down is or all the way up. So something we're definitely not using, since those computers are shoved in a box. So I got a bunch of wire that we got butt connected together, and with a double pole, double throw switch, we'll have up and down running through all the power through the switch. So that will be a much simpler approach to windows going up and down. Alright, so basically one wire set is all wired up onto the switch, and you can see that the window motors are attached to the center, and then we have the black and blue here, and then on this side is the blue and the black. So that way they switch poles, so you'll have an up and a down. So that's all wired up. I just need to wire up the passenger side. Now I can shove this into the dash. Alright, so we got our switches in. So we are good to go there. And then I added another switch over here. So, we got that rigged up. We got those rigged up. Now we have one spot left right here. You can see an outline for. So I'm going to cut that out, and we'll have to convene again next video and show you what goes in there. Something slightly interesting and weird like I usually do. So make sure to stay tuned for that type of stuff. I've also thrown in some roll cage foam. Put this fake carbon fiber vinyl piece on the cage where my shoe always hits. And then I've almost got the wipers on and the little cowl thing. So we are right down the home stretch. And then I'll have like maybe a week to finish the trailer.
Not fun. But that will be that, and we're gonna have to keep boogieing here. Running low on time, and I haven't even gotten plates renewed on this thing because of the stupid courthouses not being open properly and all that type of stuff. Still have to register the trailer too, so that sucks. Because I know I'm going to get pulled over in this thing, so I got to make sure I'm quasi-legal. So, anyways, I guess thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't. And we'll see you again next time.